How are you, friends? 2 weeks have passed since the war between Gaza and Israel. The entire paradigm of this war has shifted. The fight, which at first seemed like an attack and a pounce, it has spread to 4 countries and has even drawn clear international lines. The conflict is so complex that it can be thought of as if the Ukraine-Russia war were a crooked line. So the Gaza-Israel war is a tangled jungle of many colors, the end of which no one is getting. In such a case, just look at the military installations. Which other countries except Israel have built around this war? West of Gaza and Israel is the world's busiest commercial sea, the Mediterranean Sea. In the same sea, the pro-Israeli forces, i.e., the United States and the United Kingdom, have made installations. Some have reached, some are reaching. Looking at the first US installations, here are 2 US aircraft carriers. USS Gerald Ford and D. Eisenhower have arrived. Then there are the 2 class cruisers, the Normandy and the Philippines. 7 destroyers are warships. There are 5 frigates, 2 landing support ships. In addition, there are more than 2,000 US Marine commanders aboard the fleet, while a team of American intelligence will be present with Israeli forces in Tel Aviv or anywhere in Israel, which will play an important role in the planning for the attack on Gaza and the elimination of Hamas. This means that the entire Pentagon is now ready to eliminate Hamas together with Israel. In addition, American President Joe Biden has given military aid of $100 billion to Israel and Ukraine. Preparations have begun to be placed before the Congress. Note that this is in addition to the thousands of missiles and munitions, which has now reached the land and coast of Israel. Along with the United States, Great Britain has also stood side by side for military assistance to Israel. 2 Royal Navy aircraft ships, surveillance aircrafts from England, 3 Merlin helicopters and Royal Marine Commandos have also been sent to assist Israel. Along with the United States and Britain, NATO is the European-American military alliance. He is also alert to help Israel. Now, friends, you can see that the whole Western alliance has prepared to attack the place. They are a total of 41 kilometer strip, and also from the place to be attacked. It is an area of 10 to 12 kilometers in length, that is, Gaza City, now a Western alliance, which we may call the Allied Powers in reference to World War II. Only one of them is the Hamas organization, which is also the elected government of Gaza. From 2006, Hamas's only strength at the moment is its network of underground tunnels. Apart from this, no country, alone Hamas, stands with the innocent people of Gaza, that they came forward to stop the bombardment on them. But the Allied powers are now getting pressure from Russia and China with each passing day. A pressure that would not result in an attack on Israel. But it will definitely turn out that America and Israel will be stuck in a war lasting many years. In such a war, there will always be a fear of war theater expansion. Russia has put pressure on this war to the very edge of the Middle East. The Black Sea has begun its military movements in international waters. Russian President Putin stood in China and said that America has opened a front in the Middle East after Ukraine. It has sent 2 aircraft carriers to the Mediterranean Sea. I am not threatening, but I have ordered Russian military jets MiG-31 to patrol with hypersonic missiles. This patrol will be permanent in the neutral waters of the Black Sea. We want to keep an eye on the changing situation in the Middle East. So our Air Force will be on constant mission with interceptor jets with 1,000 kilometers range missiles. President Putin said all this while standing in China. Now see, friends, that Putin has actually threatened by saying that we are not threatening. 2 things are important in this statement. One is when a country stands on the land of another and says such a threatening thing to a third country. So some of the burden is first on the host country. This statement was made by the Russian president after meeting with the Chinese President Xi Jinping while standing on his territory. He was in Beijing to attend the Belt and Road Summit. These were his words before this policy statement on the Middle East, that the US is giving Ukraine long-range missiles to use against us. So nothing is going to be gained from this except to increase the problems of Ukraine. Yes, America cannot remain indifferent to whatever is happening in Ukraine now. Whatever is happening there, the United States will also be held responsible. That's what we believe. This is what he said. On the Black Sea, Russian planes armed with missiles will do constant patrolling. Just look at this place on the map. This is the southern part of the Black Sea. And the land of Israel, plus the Mediterranean Sea, is a little more than 1,000 kilometers from this place. While the range of missiles installed on these planes is also 1,000 kilometers. Then there is already a Russian military base in Syria. Hezbollah, the largest non-governmental army in the world, is based in Lebanon, which has much better short-range and long-range guided missiles than Hamas. She has also fully entered the war theater. Hezbollah has far more precision and accuracy attack missiles than Hamas rockets. They are also much more difficult for the Israeli air defense system Iron Dome to detect than Hamas rockets. The number of these different types of missiles is in tens of thousands. A rough estimate of which is between 2 lakh to 3 lakh. But obviously this figure is only an estimate of the Western media, because Hezbollah will not tell their correct numbers. Well, the missiles and rockets that Hezbollah has are launched from mobile launchers. That is, Israel cannot destroy this capability by destroying a single launching facility. That is, the Axis resistance against the Allied powers, from Syria, from the Black Sea. It will come from Hamas in Lebanon and Gaza, with them diplomatic support from China and some moral and financial support from the Arabs. As the conflict progresses, you will see it escalate. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan will not be able to remain indifferent to it for long, because the vote bank they have come to. This is the vote bank that, after the attacks in Gaza, first attacked the Israeli consulates in Ankara and Istanbul. And you die. These attacks happened in different Arab countries. And now, Israel has recalled its diplomatic staff from all Arab Muslim countries. So as this conflict progresses, you will see that the world will fall into a deep abyss. But will this conflict last long? Yes. If Israel does a ground invasion, as he is prepared, if not grounded at any time, he can launch a surprise attack like ground invasion at any time. But for the complete elimination of Hamas, it will have to come down to earth at once. As soon as he lands on the ground, will enter Gaza, he will fall into the trap of Hamas and Iran. That is, a long war began. What all the opponents of the Allied powers wanted. On the 17th of October, an incident took place which changed the mood of the entire war. This incident was an attack on a 6-7-storied Al-Ali Al-Arab hospital in the middle of Gaza City. For 140 years, this hospital was run by the evangelical Christian community. It was the largest facility in Gaza for cancer patients and women. There was a church inside the same hospital. And there are 2 historical churches on the right and left of it. This means that a good number of Christians live in this area. The citizens of Gaza worried about the bombardment of Israeli planes between 6 and 7 o'clock on the night of October 17th. Considering the hospital as a safe roof, they took shelter in it. Videos of children playing here were also shared on social media. For several days, the Israeli planes that had become postmen, they were dropping leaflets on this hospital and other hospitals in Gaza City. That you get out of here as soon as possible, we are about to bomb. On this, the Hipstal administrations were demanding, according to the video statement and a no, that the hospital evacuation warnings be withdrawn. Because there are small children, born babies. There are injured people who cannot walk again. Many children and adults are on ventilators. Some people have operating schedules. Cancer patients are at critical point. How can we finally leave the hospital empty? It is impossible to take them all from here. but the hospital administration was repeatedly told by the Israeli forces over the phone to vacate the hospital and leave. Meanwhile, rockets were being fired at Israel by Hamas. So on the night of October 17, a missile lands in the parking lot of Al-Ali Al-Arab Hospital. According to the Hamas administration, 400 to 500 people are killed, in which children, patients and doctors are included in large numbers. That is, almost all unarmed and common people were killed in it. The attack was first tweeted and written by Israeli spokesperson Naftali on Fatahana X, that the Israeli Air Force has targeted a Hamas base inside a Gaza hospital. He also tagged and wrote the hashtag #IsisHamas, that many people have been killed in this attack. As soon as this news started circulating in the world media through the reporters there, so Israel, which was taking the high moral ground from its Western allies, difficulty began for him, because now the attacks on Israeli and American interests had started. At 2 o'clock in the night in Turkey, protesters came out of their houses shouting slogans. They set fire to Israeli consulates and embassies in Ankara and Istanbul. Thousands of Iranians gathered outside the British and French embassies in Iran. In the other part of Palestine, the West Bank, Palestinians also started demonstrations against their president Mahmoud Abbas. Protesters attacked the American embassy in Lebanon at AM and set it on fire. In Jordan, Israel's other neighbor, thousands of protesters have been protesting since 10 p.m. The Israelis had started a protest outside the embassy with Palestinian flags. Similar protests started in Tunisia, Libya, Pakistan, and Egypt. But along with these Arab Muslim countries, there were protests in Israel's allied NATO countries as well. In Germany, where demonstrations in favor of Palestine were banned, people came out. They hurled bottle bombs at the police van and also attacked the Jewish synagogue. Clashes between protesters and the police in Barcelona, Spain also started to go viral on the media. Similarly, in the Caribbean, in the Netherlands, and Colombia, the bombing of Palestine, and especially, people started protesting against the attack on the hospital at night. During all this, Naftali, the leading member of Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's social media team, the tweet about the triumphant attack on the hospital was deleted. But by then thousands of people had taken screenshots of it with timestamps. After that, the Israeli social media team started giving a new color to this whole incident. That the hospital blast was actually a rocket fired by Hamas affiliate Islamic Jihad, which exploded in the air and landed in the hospital. In other words, this is not the IDF's operation, but the operation of Hamas's partner organization. This claim was shared by Israeli media, Prime Minister Netanyahu, and his team. Then the same claim was repeated by the American president, who came to Israel the next day, changing some words in his speech and on Twitter. But a few hours later, Israel was acquitted of the attack. He stated that I am not saying that Hamas has deliberately attacked the hospital, but this attack was not carried out by Israel. There was a worldwide debate on who did this attack. The 2 points that were going strongest against Israel. He was analyzed by Dylan Graft, a US Army veteran who is also a weapons expert. The analysis was published in the Middle East Monitor. He said, "This is an American missile JDAM, which is American-made, fired by American F-16s. According to him, the sound signature of the sound recorded in a video suggests that it was a missile attack. Rockets don't sound like that because they don't have guided fans behind them. While the missile that hit the hospital has a whistling sound and the intensity of impact is the same as that of the JDAM missile." He also said that Israel may have given several warnings to evacuate the hospital. So the IDF, the Israeli forces, opened fire on the hospital without checking to see if it had been evacuated. The second point that goes against Israel is this. No matter what a Hamas rocket does, it cannot kill 500 people. Rocket fuel ranges from 100 to 200 kilograms. If its explosion could have caused so many casualties, it would have been a matter of greater concern for Israel. These 2 points go against Israel. But Israel says in its own right that if it was detonated by our missile. So when the missile fell, it didn't leave as big a hole as it should have. Qatar's Al Jazeera TV in several detailed reports. Second-by-second analysis is shown that the attack took place at 6:69 p.m. At that time, no rockets were being fired from Gaza. So that's a lot of claims. Until we get the videos of the entire incident and detailed videos of the place. Or as the Palestinian Authority puts it, a detailed report from the Red Cross does not arrive. It is difficult for us to reach any conclusions. But the thing is, which hospital is it? Before this, Israel has targeted hospitals, schools, and ambulances. The truth is that whatever reports come out about the Al Ali Al Arab hospital attack, many people do not care what caused the explosion. Because all those people have died in this attack. Yes, even those who are alive in Gaza have been created an environment like killing them alive. American President Biden came to Israel in war conditions. He announced aircraft carriers and billions of dollars of support for Israel. But for the people of Gaza, he announced only $100 million in aid. He did not give this aid in cash. He still had to get approval from Congress. But as soon as he announced it, at the same time, the Republicans opposed it and said that we will not give a penny to terrorists. When have 2 million people of Gaza been proved to be terrorists? This is not what the Republicans said. But the representatives of this Congress for Israel, whose water and food are not cut off. For this, Biden has started preparing another $100 billion of aid. This aid will be for both Ukraine and Israel. But keep in mind that the US already gives Israel $40 billion in annual military aid. During this visit, the US president also said that all the people of Palestine should not be considered as terrorists. If terrorists should not be considered, should they be saved? What will the American president do to save this? He did not say this, but he said that he had convinced Egypt that 20 truckloads of relief supplies, not including oil, be sent to Gaza. By the way, he convinced the Israeli Prime Minister more than Egypt, he should have said. Because how long has the Egyptian president been ready to send aid? For several days, there is a long line of trucks at the Gaza crossing opening to Egypt. These trucks carry food, water, oil, and winter clothes. But Israel is not allowing all of them to enter. Because it is a condition that all this stuff will be searched first. Then they will monitor that these goods do not fall into the hands of Hamas. And above all, if Hamas returns all Israeli prisoners, then this food and drink will be given inside. However, he is not guaranteeing this. That if Egypt opens the Rafah crossing for aid, it will not bomb. Because Israel is bombarding North Gaza and asking them to go to South Gaza. And at the same time, the bombing in South Gaza is also going on. Due to this, the road of Rafah crossing and some facilities have been destroyed. The repair of which has also been declared the responsibility of Egypt. On which Egypt is ready. It means that the American president has treated Israel like a pampered child. But in order not to offend him, we are telling him that we have celebrated the Egyptian ruler, Fattah el-Sisi. But it has not yet been implemented. Because it has been 2 days, even 20 trucks have not reached the camel's mouth from Rafah crossing. Because Israel is not giving a guarantee, Israel is constantly betting that if this stuff goes into the hands of Hamas, we won't let any more stuff go. Well, this is very inhuman. If some goods fall into the hands of Hamas, will those people who have no fault in it be starved to death? And who will decide who among the hungry and thirsty people who are eating this food is a member of Hamas, and who is not? Because the government of Gaza was run by Hamas. There are millions of people in the government machinery who must be related to Hamas in one way or another. Secondly, humanitarian aid is given on humanitarian basis. Not on the basis of which organization, religion, group, nation, or color the person seeking help belongs to. The result of all this is that millions of hungry and thirsty innocent children and women are languishing across the wall. While on the other side of the wall, there are rows of food trucks. Ointment is also available. But these goods are not reaching people. Nothing can be more inhuman than this. Not only that, but one more thing is happening now, which is leading to degradation of human consciousness instead of development. That freedom of expression is being restricted there. The good thing is that freedom of expression is allowed there. It happened in many cities of Sweden, Ireland, Scotland, Italy, Germany, France, America, and Great Britain. There were so many massive demonstrations in support of Palestine that no one was expecting. There was a slogan in these protests which was the basis of which these protests were banned. The slogan was, Min al-Nar, al-Bahr, from Da River to Da Sea, let Da Palestine free. From the river to the sea. This slogan means that whoever is chanting this slogan does not believe in the existence of Israel. Because the river they are talking about is the Jordan River, and the sea we are talking about is the Mediterranean Sea. The Mediterranean Sea. So during the period of the Ottoman Empire, that is, until the First World War, the area that was called Palestine, in which Jews, Christians and Muslims lived without fighting, it was from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. The same that today includes the West Bank, Gaza, and Israel, this whole area. So calling this slogan, Man al-Nar, al-Bahr, from Da River to Da Sea, a hateful slogan. Attempts have been made to silence voices against the bombing of Gaza. But now, social media numbers have become so important that it is no longer possible to suppress the voice. The Western world, where the modern establishment was born after World War II. The fourth generation has grown up there. They are not ready to bear this burden of the first generation. That we will settle disputes in the Middle East or Eastern Europe with our taxpayers' money. So they are reacting in such a way, which we did not get to see before. Podcasts and the X that was Twitter have become places where those who defend the Israeli bombing and occupation of Gaza are having a hard time. Perhaps such a strong reaction from the Western world would not have come against Israel if it had not dropped 6,000 bombs in 6 days. America has not bombed Afghanistan in 20 years. Not so much was done on Iraq. The most difficult task in the Gaza-Israel conflict is to keep one's dignity alive.